Sir?
Sure. Congratulations. Do you think it would have been a much closer contest, like being a 50-over match?
Yeah, I think when
The batting would have been different from the beginning.
yeah, I mean, obviously when you lose wickets and then Duckworth-Lewis has an effect on the game, it can be, I feel like you always end up chasing a few more than you anticipate, but that comes with losing a couple early wickets. So yeah, I mean, it was a difficult batting wicket in the end. Facing their spinners, they were ragging it both ways. They're very skillful. So we were going to have our work cut out for us before we went out there to bat. We had some glimpses of some good batting, but especially from Davey, and I just thought that Ashwin and Jadeja on that wicket there, especially Ashwin, tremendous skills spinning it both ways as a finger spinner. Yeah, he asked me if I was picking them, and I was like, no chance, mate. So very difficult. Mate.
What was the situation in the dugout when the DRS was applied?
We weren't. It wasn't like we certainly weren't panicked as maybe some people might have thought, because we were chasing quite a large total. I think we needed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was about 13 and over or something when we went back out to bat. But we knew today, when we were bowling, as soon as we missed the stumps, especially up top, we were punished pretty badly. We didn't execute greatly with the ball, and we just thought of, there weren't many conversations. Marnus and Davey know exactly what they need to do, and if those two can go out and put on a partnership, we're going to go close regardless of how many runs we need to chase, just because it's such a small field, and the outfield was lightning. So it was pretty calm dugout, to be fair, regardless of how many runs and over we needed, to be honest.
In South Africa also, you had faced pretty similar flat extreme over here. What is the thinking of a bowler when doing on such a game? What is the game plan basically?
Yeah, well, I think it showed today when we were bowling, and it was a little bit the same in South Africa as well, to be honest. As soon as we missed the stumps, we were punished. Every ball that missed the stumps was put away to the fence by some bloody good young cricketers. So that's not surprising, and it's not like it's disappointing, obviously, because especially from my end, I'd had a poor power play, had a pretty good power play last game, but I pride myself on the areas that I bowl and putting pressure on the batsmen that way. And I've just noticed the last this tour so far, in these first two games, and then in South Africa, the batters are just too good. As soon as you're off the stumps or pitching outside leg, they're not going to miss out. So similar in that regard, but in terms of the pace of the wickets and stuff, quite different, as you'd probably expect.
Your thoughts on everyone on batting right back against Ashwin? And obviously sweeping him as well before getting on.
Yeah, well, I think that's a testament to Ashwin's skills, to be honest, because I think if Davey's just going to sit there and bat left-handed, and Ashwin he's not going to miss his length too often, and with the ball spinning so much, he's got the one that goes the other way, the straighter one, and all the variations that go along with that. Davey just thought, I had to change up. He plays golf right-handed. He's played, we obviously see how dynamic he is batting, like doing his switch hitting and stuff. So he weighed up those options. I think they actually might have spoken about it during the Test match here. So he's done it before. He practices it in the nets. So I was like, oh, this is different. But Davey's Davey, so we just let him crack on. He's a great competitor.
What are the sort of takeaways from this game? Obviously, almost conceding 400 for the
Yeah.
second time in 4 matches is an ideal getting to a World Cup.
Yeah, far from ideal. But at the same time, we've got such a great group in that, we're communicating well out on the ground, but we've obviously just not executed as well as we would have liked. It's all well and good to say that we'll take learnings out of these games and stuff like that, but we do need to execute better as a whole. I still thought Josh bowled well up top again, and today I personally think besides maybe 4 or 5 or 6 balls in the last 10 overs that we bowled today, I actually thought we executed for the most part. But bowling that last over to Surya Kumar Yadav, he was 70 off 30 with 4 fielders out, is far from ideal, and something that I don't really want to do again. But plenty of takeaways. But although we went for 400 again today, I thought our death bowling was pretty good. It can still be improved a lot. But like I've mentioned a couple of times already, our execution in bringing those stumps into play, owning our lengths and putting pressure on the batters that way certainly has to improve. And I have no doubt that we've got a very skilled attack. So we're looking forward to the next game.
Sean,
obviously the two ODIs now.
Yep.
You lost 5 games on the trot,
Yep.
getting into a World Cup.
Yep.
Obviously, you're 5-time champions and all professional players. But is there any kind of pressure, or do you guys, how do you tackle a situation like this? How do you try and turn it around?
Yeah, look, it's far from ideal. It's not something you plan to do. I mean, although we have a World Cup coming up, when we knew we were coming. As soon as we left Sydney, we knew we were coming over here. We want to be flying back home with the World Cup in our hands. But we had a T20 series, a one-day series, and another one here. So we had a lot of cricket before then, and we want to be winning those series. We're playing for our country, so it's far from ideal that we haven't done that. We won the T20 series, but especially the 2 one-day series leading into the World Cup isn't ideal. But it's hard to explain to people who aren't in the dressing room, but it is an extremely good dressing room to be in. We're extremely disappointed that we've, not executed as well as we would have liked, but we're moving forward. Possibly making some of the same. I feel like I've made some of the same mistakes a couple of games in a row now, but I still feel like my game's in a good place and I'm going in the right direction. I just got to get out there and do it, and I know a couple of the other guys feel the same. So, whilst it's not ideal if you're an Aussie supporter, we're very confident still, and we're all, like I said, it's a very good change room to be in that regard. We move on very quickly, but we certainly don't disregard the results and how we've performed, because we know there's a lot of work to do.
And what about your batting, Sean? I think you 5 sixes tonight, had that 100 in the English competition earlier in the year. Is that something you've been working on and you see as crucial for being selected? You've got these other great quicks in as well.
Yeah, I just think, if you can add a string to your bow, then it has to be done, especially when you're playing for your country, and especially coming into a World Cup. But I don't think I'm going to get picked on my batting. It's certainly my bowling that's going to get me in the team. And if I can, my view is if I feel like I'm good enough to go out there and win games with the bat, and if I get into that situation, I'd like to think that I can do that. Tonight we're probably a little bit far gone, once we lost a couple of wickets, but you just never know. These grounds are pretty small at times, and if you get your tail up and you get going, you just don't know what can happen. I've seen some funny things happen this year in cricket, so and that was one of them. That wasn't on my radar, scoring 100. I don't think anyone would have seen that coming, looking at my stats. But I'll keep working on that. I feel like I've been hitting the ball well. It's been disappointing I hadn't really put a score on the board with some good opportunities in South Africa and here so far. So it was nice tonight, but still some improvements to be made.
Last couple of goals from there.
Yeah. Sean, Rohit and India made it very clear that the bowlers from 7-8 times, you and Josh hit 7-7 44. Is there something you're going to see more often in this World Cup? Most teams will be expecting the lower order to score all runs.
No, we certainly don't want me and Josh scoring all the runs. We've tried a few things since we've been over here and in South Africa. Just with the workload that we've had to chop and change a little bit, and we want to obviously have a look at some guys and then build some depth as well, because it's a pretty long and hectic schedule. But we certainly want the top order and the middle order firing, and we've got plenty of firepower there. We've got plenty of skill. We've got guys that play spin really well, guys that hit the ball out of the park really well, and I think we've got a really good dynamic in our middle and top order. So. Whilst we would have liked some more runs so far, like I said, we're a change room that moves forward pretty quickly, irrespective of the results so far. So I think, I can speak on behalf of the group. I think we're really looking forward to this next game and then moving into the World Cup, because I think, we're doing some right things. We just haven't put them out there on the park yet. So I'm confident we can turn that around pretty quickly.
Well, I don't know if anybody has asked the question because I've just joined in.
Yeah.
My question is, the World Cup is just a few days away. How open a World Cup this is going to be, and who do you think could be Australia's main rivals?
What was the first one?
How open do you think the World Cup will be?
Oh, yeah.
Who is our rivals?
A good question. There's a lot of bloody good teams in this World Cup. That's pretty obvious. So it's hard to say. I definitely think there's maybe 4 or 5 teams that can win it. Pakistan were number 1 in the world a few days ago. India are obviously playing very well at the moment. And Rohit, Hardik and Virat are missing out. And they're always going to be tough to beat at home. And we've just played South Africa there. They rested a few guys, but I think they're another team that can compete. I certainly think it's hard to say because all the teams are such bloody good teams from 1 to 11. They're all very well balanced teams. So it's hard to say who pick out one who's going to be our rival. New Zealand's always a pretty good rival because they're across the ditch. They're pretty close to home. So and they're a team that just always seems to find their way into finals. So it's a bit of a hard question to say who our rivals will be. Maybe England, the old foe. Bring that Ashes competition into the World Cup. So I think it's going to be a bloody good World Cup, to be honest. There's a lot of teams that can win it, certainly.
Last one,
Yeah.
You mentioned the bowling power play. Australia, over the last few matches, have really struggled to get wickets in the bowling power play. Is that
Yeah.
the most important time to strike, in your opinion, or how much do you value getting from that first 10 overs?
Yeah, I mean, there's never a bad time to get wickets, to be honest. But you want to be putting the ball in an area where you're going to take wickets, especially while it's swinging. And the ball does, like over in India, does tend to get a little bit harder to score against when it gets, both games so far, the ball's been scuffed up quite a lot, a little bit slow. And there's been a little bit of reverse swing, it stops a little bit when the dew comes in. But, that's the best time, to take wickets, when the batters are having a look. But if you don't execute like we did today and last game, they're just going to dine out. And we're not putting them under much pressure. So it's certainly the best time to bowl. You get to look at a fresh new batsman with a brand new stonker. So I think Josh did that pretty well tonight. He bowled some nice deliveries, but we just need to put 10 good overs together, and I think we'll do that next game.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.